It can help you, my children! A few times before, we enjoyed John Carpenter's Tales for a Halloween Night. But instead of having a very long book of anthology tales for this 10th anniversary episode, let's instead enjoy the follow-up material, Tales of Science Fiction. Each tale is a miniseries detailing a story of horror and sci-fi. And tonight we're enjoying Vortex. On the asteroid Garm, almost 1,500 light-years from Earth, a mining group is attempting to find one of their lost compatriots deep in a cave. Miner Dole Anderson attempts to go down deeper to find his compatriot, only for said compatriot to find him, along with dozens of tentacles emerging from his lower half. Meanwhile, Senior Chief Jake Dixon and his compatriots, Bear and Sinclair, who is coming on her first tour, are arriving at Space Station Benson, the primary base near the asteroid mining. However, the commander of the station, Bonnie Monroe, is less than pleased to have him back. Some sort of incident occurred recently involving the rift gateways that they use to travel interstellar distances that forced Dixon to allow Monroe's husband and child to die in the rift, and she blames him for it. However, professional matters must sometimes take priority, since Dixon is still the chief of their search and rescue team, and the emergency beacon has been lit by the mining team. There's been no communication though, so they have to go in with the skeleton crew they have to investigate. Their pilot is Anna Charon, who was recently put in the brig for some other offense, but she's what they've got. There's atmosphere at the mine, but no signs of people. Whatever happened did so in a hurry, and soon Bear and Sinclair are attacked by some kind of biomass that emerges from a puddle on the ground. Dixon, meanwhile, finds a lone survivor, Anderson, and they hear the cries of their attacked compatriots. They try to go and help, but Anderson, in a confused state, sets off some charges to prevent anyone from going back into the mine. 2 days later, they plan another expedition to it. Anderson can only recall bits and pieces of what happened, which probably explains why they suddenly changed how they spelled his name between issues. Claiming that one of the miners seemed to have some kind of psychotic episode and lined the area with explosives, setting them off while he was unconscious in a struggle. There are a multitude of holes in the story, not the least of which being the attack reported by Bear and Sinclair. I just really like saying those names together. Anderson is released from the medical facilities and met by Atkins, an eager woman who was going to join the mining operation before things went to hell. She offers to help him with things, and as you can tell by his face, he's eager for that help. On the way down on the expedition, Anderson is ignoring his food and instead writing lots of stuff down in his journal. When they arrive, there's already been a new, sophisticated atmospheric dome installed to replace the one that got blown up. But speaking of things blowing up, Atkins can only see her flesh being pulled apart when she looks in the mirror and decides to go see the doctor. And it seems that something is definitely wrong. Or rather right with Atkins. Her eyes that have needed glasses all her life have completely healed themselves. In the mine, they stumble across a sinkhole that leads to one of the giant mining vehicles, and they go down further. Contact is harder to keep up at that depth, so the ship sends a rover to help. But it gets smashed by something off-panel. After restoring power, they find something even more interesting. Sinclair, barely alive and claiming the other miners are still trapped. This just raises up more questions, since she was supposed to have lost all her air when the dome breached, yet here she is, and she can hear the dead screaming. Lady, join the club! It's like undead tinnitus! The doctor returns to his quarters, only to discover that Atkins is, well, there and making a mess of his bed. But she's not alone, as Anderson is with her, and he's also on the asteroid. It seems the doctor has cancer, and Anderson offers to help him with that, as they infect him with what has happened to them. The group on the mine failed to find any other survivors, but they are not alone, as one of the spacesuits comes to life and attacks with a pickaxe. They're attacked by more of the suits, which are full of the biomass. They finally re-establish contact with the ship on the station, which alerts them to the fight with the possessed spacesuits. Still, their guns are virtually useless against them, and they must flee back to the ship. Meanwhile, Sinclair and Anderson talk. She somehow knows everything about him, and can even speak Russian when she couldn't before. She does not know how, but he says that a little piece of each of them is in the biomass. even Bear, who emerges and is revealed to be the one who destroyed the robot earlier. The others return and seem to shoot him dead again, but the important thing is to escape the things chasing them. Though unfortunately, one makes it on board their ship. While they try to trap it away from them, Sinclair says that she doesn't understand what it is Anderson is doing, only that she is part of it. She can sense the intelligence driving it forward. Anderson blows a hole in the ship to kill some of them, the others confined to engineering. To try to escape, they fly what's left of the ship to the one that Dickson had failed to save, still caught in the rift and normal space. Sinclair sacrifices herself to hold it off, but somehow in the process Dickson is able to find and recover Monroe's baby, returning it to its mother. When they learn Anderson is already on board the station again, they go to confront him, shooting him and Atkins. And they just immediately regenerate. Still, as they run off to try and quarantine him, Anderson decides that trying to keep higher-level brain functions of those infected still running is a mistake. They need human material as drones and foot soldiers. Monroe soon contacts him, and he explains that they found some sort of life form on the asteroid. It was primitive, but it absorbed the intelligence of the first person it found, soon infecting him afterwards. The life form had absorbed all the knowledge of the people it infected, allowing Anderson to experience it all as well. He ended up infecting everyone else and set up the accident and cover story to try to allow him to simply continue his research on it in peace and eventually reveal it to Earth, but things got out of hand. He argues that the life form can cure all disease, as evidenced by Atkins' restored sight and the station's doctor getting his cancer cured. Still, he insists on infecting everyone now, so he assembles a new drone creature that's mostly skeleton, and he uses it to start slaughtering people. The plan is to eject the section they're in, Dickson and his friends trying to get away, but Sharon elects to stay behind to steal a small repair vessel and to burn up most of the infected. Those that remain destroy the flight deck, eliminating their primary means of escape, plus damaging most of the station. As the biomass reaches the bridge, Sharon makes her way to a ship outside the station so that she can come to them and maybe help. The only ones to escape the bridge are Dickson, Monroe, and her baby, who make their way to an escape lifeboat. But so does Anderson. They take off, but Anderson manages to get aboard, more or less, stabbing Dickson, but keeping himself trapped in the rear bay doors. The only humans left on the station blow it the hell up, Charon making it to an old shuttle that's still flyable and joining them in their escape. Unfortunately, as they enter the gateway to head home, Dickson elects to override the ship to prevent Anderson from leaving, telling Charon to pick up Monroe and the baby, who have been jettisoned. Anderson begs him to let them continue to Earth, thinking of all the benefits the biomass can bring to mankind. But Dickson reveals that he found Anderson's notebook, where he had begun to scribble in it that he wanted to die and was not in control of the biomass like he's been claiming to be. And so he exposes the ship to rift energy, which tears Anderson apart. And yet Dickson soon finds himself seeing Sinclair, who informs him that they've arrived. Appropriate for John Carpenter, the story can very much be seen as The Thing in Spice, though with less paranoia and just lots of terrifying inhuman things infecting people. Which is still great in my book. Ah!